What's a huge waste of money, but people keep buying it? Write in the comments what you think about it. That's not worth the money. Enjoy the show. Story 1. I don't smoke weed, but I dated a girl that did. It's legal in my state, and she'd spend $50, $100 every few days on that shit. I never realized how expensive it was. When she didn't have it, she'd get irritable and desperate for more. People say it's not addictive, but it definitely is for some people, and it's an expensive one. Story 2. In-game purchases. At the very minimum, the sheer amount of them like V-Bucks. Sincerely terrible money waster. For something that doesn't add much at all except for a new appearance or that extra retry, which is equivalent to gambling IMO. They're usually designed as a scheme, so you're lacking just enough with one purchase. Story 3. If a lot of people buy it, it's popular, and as such, calling it stupid to buy will get you downvoted. That being said, expensive perfumes. They cost dollars if not cents to produce and sell for hundreds of dollars. You can buy copies for way less, but that doesn't have the allure of having the real product with its luxury properties. There's nothing luxury about it. Story 4. DoorDash Uber Eats ***. It's sometimes priced more than if you picked it up, that plus all the attached fees. Most places don't let you customize the food, and even if they do, half the time it's wrong. Typically comes lukewarm at best and jumbled up. A $10 sand, which can quickly become 20. ***, unless you absolutely cannot go there and pick the food up for whatever reason. Story 5. Shoes. My BF has a ton of shoes. I have 2 pairs and nowhere to put them because the shelf is full of my BF's shoes. Also MTG cards. He could literally just print whatever card he needs since he only plays with friends and they accept proxy cards. But he loves collecting, hoarding everything. If it makes him happy, then I won't judge him even if the urge to own objects is completely foreign to me. Just leave a small space for my stuff and I'll be okay. Story 6. Funerals, burial plots, caskets that are hermetically sealed, elaborate headstones, etc. Most people will be forgotten in 50, 100 years anyway. Let nature take its course and plant a tree on them. Or at least cremate them and bury their ashes. Once you're dead, it's not like you can give a shit about what happens to your earthly remains. Story 7. My smile and my laugh. It's pretty often that someone says something about either one, and I used to really like getting the compliments, but for some reason as I've gotten older, not so much. I don't know why, and I feel really bad that I get almost instantly annoyed now when someone compliments me, and I don't know how to change it. I never show that it bothers me, and I always make sure to thank a person very happily. Story 8. Chiropractic adjustments. You're paying for your neck and back to make loud noises, which is just nitrogen releasing from your joints. It fixes nothing and is complete quackery, and in the case of neck adjustments, runs the risk of rupturing an artery and giving you a severe stroke. IV hydration spas. There is nothing special about a bag of IV fluid, just drink water. Rehydration drinks. They're just sugar, salt, and water. Add a pinch of salt to some Crystal Light. Story 9. Paying for antivirus. If your system is so old and vulnerable that you can get a drive-by, you have other problems. If you get infected because you open everything without checking anything, you have other problems. If by any chance you really get hit with a brand new virus and malware, guess what? Your protection is none. Now you have other problems. Use your best protection. Your brain. Don't open all and everything. If someone is gifting you $1 million, it is maybe not true. If a Ken or Barbie sends you pics because you are so lovely and they want to meet up, maybe don't. Get away from the MS malware circus, aka Windows, Active Directory, Outlook, and company. Story 10. Food boxes. Not only a waste of money for the people buying it, but as a convenience, a huge waste of food. I work for a delivery company. These boxes are shipped ground, aka in non-refrigerated trucks with inadequate packaging to survive the journey and often addressed incorrectly. We have to throw away approx 10% of these boxes every day, and that food goes right in the trash. Trucks break down, hurricanes happen, accidents happen, tornadoes happen, bridges collapse, and finally you give the wrong address. So the box sits for 24 HRS or more while we try desperately to contact stupid fuckers who don't know where they live. But yeah, $40 for a snack-size bag of pistachios is totally reasonable. Story 11. Dating app subscriptions. Sex. Gym memberships, perfume, cologne, Starbucks, bottled water, refined carbs, grass lawns, permanently attached carpet. Cosmetics, makeup, Botox, hair dye, colored contact lenses, etc. Lottery tickets, cigarettes, big pharma products, college, shoes that cost more than $40 per pair, Disneyland tickets, any Apple product that's not a desktop nor laptop computer, jewelry, diamonds for jewelry, modern American weddings, in vitro fertilization, lingerie, razors for shaving, specially bred or purebred domesticated mammals, lifted trucks, residences beyond 150 square meters per person in one location. Story 12. Lunchables. A couple crackers and some piddly cheese and meat pieces, a piece of candy or a cookie, and a whole lot of plastic packaging. Also, those frozen PB&J sandwiches, Uncrustables, ridiculously wasteful and lazy. Cars like BMW, Mercedes, Audi, Range Rover, etc. Junk with a badge that people think is some sort of status symbol. Status is a broken car that burns oil and sits on blocks rotting in the driveway? Okay. Story 13. Alcohol. It causes far more problems than governments care to admit. Far more health and social problems than many prohibited substances. Governments are addicted to the tax revenue it raises, so they ignore the health and social impacts it has, such as increased liver disease, some cancers, oral health problems, and cardiovascular disease, in addition to family and relationship breakdowns, addiction problems, and domestic violence. Alcohol is by and large accepted as it has been socially accepted for thousands of years. In some instances, it was the only way for populations to have consumable water due to parasites and other contaminants. In modern society, it is seen to be a social lubricant that helps people talk to each other, build relationships early on in particular, relax and have fun, more so during formative years when people are developing socially, when perhaps on balance, there could be better ways to achieve these goals without the risks and downfalls. Story 14. Cocaine and casinos got me in a chokehold. Slots were my go-to, had amazing weeks being up in profits, and staying strong mentally by leaving. Eventually would win big and continue playing, telling myself I would leave after a certain number. Kept chasing it, dipped under my profits, and thought to myself, why stop when I brought this amount money to play with anyways? End up losing it all. Few trips to ATM, start chasing your loses. All done hill from there. Never understood why PPL couldn't just leave after winning some money and being satisfied. Now I understand. Gambling is probably the worst. Thinking about all that money you won just to lose it all because you didn't walk away when you were up. Keeps you up. Story 15. Most cars. A £2K shitbox and a £70K sports car both do exactly the same thing. Seeing some posts online about people's car payments is fucking insane. Speaking to people at work, it's the same thing there with some people. Why would you spend so fucking much money on it? You actually can tell the salesman to go fuck himself. When he proposes something absolutely insane, it's allowed. Story 16. Most new cars. Obviously, all car companies are trying to push for entry level to be in the $40K plus range lately. But there are far too many people who buy or lease something well beyond their means on credit when there are good used cars out there, plus new fuel-efficient sedans from Toyota, Honda, and others in the sub-$30K range. Obviously, in the USA and Canada, the automakers want us all to fork over $50K plus on an SUV that would have passed for a tank 40 years ago, but we don't have to make their job easy. Story 17. Through work. I do a lot of consulting with companies where we end up going over marketing campaigns, etc. It's honestly not even that rare to find out a marketing campaign was put together that the marketing department in no way can motivate how they thought this would help sell products. Literally vanity campaigns that clearly were made solely to go on the resume of the people in charge. Often the campaign itself isn't even very flashy either. It's just some weird self-jerk-off where people do shit to appeal to their social crowd. Legit have seen absolutely obscene money invested on campaigns with little to none measurable positive effect. And there was seemingly no sort of system in place at the company where someone would properly question what the fuck was going on. Like it or not, people, but if you are paid a salary by someone, you're expected to do a certain job for that salary. It makes no sense to me you'd let people use company resources, often large amounts of them, to basically create something they made just so they can post it on their Facebook or LinkedIn and seek validation from their own crowd. So Talder is that sometimes the entire goddamn marketing department seems like a huge waste of money. They should have just used external consultants that have a proven record and work with numbers. Story 18. Razors, like the shitty Gillette ones. A pack of blades for those is 60 goddamn euros at my local supermarket now. Meanwhile, a safety razor cost me $30 for a nice one. And the blades, I don't really remember. I bought 100 at once for like €8 IIRC years ago. Still on that box. Best part is it shaves far better than the Gillette things ever did as well. I realize I don't even remember what the style of razor is called, but I'm assuming people will understand what I mean here. Story 19. Diamonds. Cars just for show, not because you actually need them. Big house with a lot of unused rooms. Holiday house which you visit twice a year. House cleaner when you should actually move your ass. And bigger one. Virtual coins when you don't want to use them, but only invest. This is because it wastes a lot of resource with zero gain to society. It is like casino, which at the same time destroys the environment. Story 20. Lotto tickets. I used to go to this gas station by work and see people get a bunch of them at once, and I'm doing the math, seeing that this person just dropped like $200 on frickin' lotto tickets. Also a new phone every year? You don't need it, just keep it till it's too slow to work, or the battery doesn't last, which should be like 3-4 years. Story 21. Engagement wedding rings. Most people are not deterred from pursuing someone with you wearing those rings. The man rarely gets anything that expensive from the woman. And if it ends in divorce, he usually doesn't get them back. So to him, it's a wasted investment. When an engagement ends, how many women give the ring back? Almost none. The jewelry is more important than the person she is marrying. The same for same-sex marriages. Story 22. Brand new cars, if you have a functioning older one. Most cars made in the last 10-15 years are made to go 200k miles, 320k km or more with proper maintenance and care. Maintaining and repairing your older car will be vastly cheaper than financing/leasing and insuring a new one. In the US, the average monthly new car payment is over $700/month. Not many used cars need $8,400 in repairs every year. Brand new cars are also more costly to insure because you have to have full coverage. Related side note, car repairs from the dealership when a car is out of warranty. They do not provide higher quality work, and they will charge you double than a good independent shop. Story 23. Pedigreed dogs and cats. People spend thousands of dollars on pedigree animals that are actually the result of massive forced inbreeding regime based on arbitrary human desires that would not otherwise naturally occur, because the artificial traits of that were selected reduce the fitness, overall health of the breed. In addition to poor posture or things like ridiculously oversized ears, animals with pedigrees have way more problems with autosomal degenerative diseases, genetic disorders. So people spend all this money on a fancy dog or cat, then spend a lot more money on fixing their health issues or mitigating them when they could have adopted a mixed breed, practically for free or sometimes actually free, that will live longer and be happier, cost less over time. And not to mention that rescue animals tend to bond with you because you rescued them. So you're a hero instantly in real life to them. How cool. Save your money, be a hero, and adopt a pet. Story 24. Alcohol, LOL. I could drink at home for probably pennies on the dollar, but I don't have kids. I make good money. Been in a relationship for over a decade. We love going to random bars together because we can. It is not every night and drinking is not a problem, but we have the freedom to do it when we want, so why not? We totally notice it adds up for nothing other than me and my GF having a great time together. We have the same great times together at home with no drinking. But yeah, we like to tear up the bars and it shows after a night together. Story 25. Food delivery. I try not to judge other folks' habits. We're all just trying to survive this capitalist hellscape, but it drives me nuts. It's a great option if you can't get out of the house for whatever reason. Disability, illness, not a driver, etc. Oregon, if you're ordering as a group and splitting the extra cost. But I think it's insane that so many people choose to regularly spend $10 to $15 extra on one meal instead of driving for 15 minutes. Story 26. Sorry for the spelling. Well, here are some. Cigarettes. You are just taking something that can give you cancer. I think there is not much to say. Starbucks. I live in the country in the Europe where is drinking cafe in the cafe bar one regular thing on the daily base. I tried Starbucks and all I can say that it's fine but not close as the cafe that you can buy for far less money. Again, Starbucks is not bad, but to me it's more like a drink than cafe drink. Any unnecessary surgery. Here I think plastic ones, hormone therapy, and more. Look, I know that people want to look better, or some don't see themselves as the opposite gender, and I respect it. But you are basically risking your life for something that you really don't need to do. Some people will even die sooner because of it. Gamble. People are doing this like crazy, and almost everyone think that it will give them some money, and even those who make money from it will lose it in a year or even less. Drugs. I know that some people use this as some escape from their problems, but this is definitely the worst one of them all. Story 27. Throwaway nature. In the past, you would repair, upgrade, clean, and keep things for long-term use, then pass it on. These days you use it, toss it, It either breaks or becomes old quick. People don't bother and toss it for a replacement or upgrade. There are few or no upgrade paths. Repairs are difficult. Skill, small components, etc., or made hard intentionally. Apple, farming equipment, electronics, power tools, etc. Story 28, organic food. I get the idea. You want food that hasn't been treated with harsh and potentially dangerous chemicals, or that uses greener farming practices. Unfortunately, organic does not guarantee that. Farm A might be using nothing but the most absolutely safe and natural practices possible. Farm B slathers every inch of the field in some horrible, barely legal toxic sludge that by technicality counts as organic, in the same way that botulism is organic. There is no way for you to know which practices were used on the organic produce you're buying, but you pay the bigger price tag no matter what. Story 29. Designer water. It's fascinating how people will spend a small fortune on bottled water from exotic locations when, in many places, clean and safe tap water is readily available for a fraction of the cost. The packaging might look fancy, but in the end, it's just H2O with a hefty price tag. Marketing genius meets unnecessary extravagance. Story 30. Let me tell you, there are so many things out there that are just huge wastes of money, believe me. One of the biggest, and it's a total disaster, is these fancy overpriced coffees. You know the ones I'm talking about? The ones with all the whipped cream and caramel drizzles, costing $5, $6, $7 a cup. It's unbelievable. People spend a fortune on these drinks every single day. You add it up, and it's thousands of dollars a year, folks. They could be investing that money, but instead, they're throwing it away on coffee. It's a real shame, folks, but that's what's happening. Just a huge waste of money. Story 31. What I read was the cravings stop in 3 to 12 months. Nope, just over a year since I stopped smoking, and it still always feels like it is time for a smoke. For a few moments, several times a day. At a family gathering about 6 months ago, a relative was smoking my old brand. I was going to bum one, but when I got close, she smelled rank. My man cave was one separate bay of the garage and my designated smoking area. With the cost of keeping my uninsulated garage warm enough all winter and the cigarettes themselves, I figured it cost $4,000 a year. Nope, not gonna play anymore. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, like it. Be sure to write comments and share your stories.